5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're now tuned into the 411 podcast and reading Between the Wines, powered by the Black Diamond Consultations Network. More than a podcast, this is a sanctuary for self-discovery, healing, and personal growth. Here, we explore what it means to live debt-free, not just financially, but spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Every episode is part of a journey across our weekly mentorship series: Spiritual Sundays, Mental Mondays, Transformational Tuesdays, Wind Down Wednesdays, Coaching Sessions Thursdays, and Financial Fridays. Each day holds space for wisdom, clarity, and real conversation. So grab your journal, pour your glass, and prepare to go beyond the surface. Because here, we don't just talk, we transform. And now, here's your guide through it all: entrepreneur, mentor, and founder of Black Diamond Consultations, Laren Gaines.
And welcome to Reading Between the Wines. What's going on, everybody? So much for joining in. I appreciate that. I want to say what's up to Miss SOS. I see you out there. Thank you so much for joining. If you could do me a favor, if you could please like, comment, share, subscribe, and most importantly, share this with someone. I definitely would appreciate that. Before we go ahead and get started, I want to give a very special thank you to my executive producer. I want to thank God for giving me another opportunity to come out here and do what I love to do best. Another opportunity to give each and every one of you another episode of Reading Between the Wines. And we're here. We're up. I want to say thank you. Special guest, author Birdman313 coming in tonight. We have a very, very, very special show tonight. And I know I say that every time, but this is a very special show tonight because so much has gone on within the past week. So I have to address a couple things. Of course, we're going to wind down. I have some great wine, great conversation with author Birdman313. I have some announcements to make. There's a lot that we are going to unpack here, right here on Reading Between the Wines. So episode 35. I gave him my body and now I want my power back. Before we get into this, I want to know, is that possible? Once you give somebody your all, are you giving up your power? And once you give up your power, how easy or how difficult is it for you to get your power back? This is Wind Down Wednesday, part of the Mentorship series here, July 9th. We rocking on. Now, before I get into tonight's episode, before I get into Song of the Day, I want to just say that I have to publicly do it this way. I've been thinking about this for a couple days, but I have to publicly put it out there because in 2020, when I decided to press play, I knew that I was giving up some of my personal life wrapped up into this thing here. And I'm thankful that the mistakes that I made along the way, I figured it out, picked myself up, dust myself off, and gave everyone out there, not myself, gave everyone out there another side of me. Because there was a reckless side, there was a hurt side, and we all know that hurt people. So I didn't want to continue the vicious cycle, so I cleaned it up along the way. But in 2020, when I first started to open up and share my story, I knew that I was going to get a little personal. So I'm going to continue on that journey, and I'm going to get a little personal tonight. So it's been an interesting week, interesting past couple days, and I've had to unpack a lot personally. I had to remember myself in 2019 when my life was falling apart. I had to remember myself in 2019 when I didn't know who I was, and somebody picked me up, dusted me off, gave me some words of encouragement, helped get me back on my feet, helped put me on the right path. And it was very devastating that the same individual that helped me get my life together, and the reason why I'm still here podcasting 5 years later, and I can still see into the future of what's more to come, the same person that helped me was in need. And it was like the shoes were switched. You ever heard that term, walk a mile in somebody else's shoes? It's like that came to real life for me. And, or the other term, when the tables turn. So it was 2019. Someone was mentoring, someone was ministering to me, and then the table turned immediately. The light switch happened immediately, and it became a very disturbing, very vulnerable moment for me. It's that time where you have to realize you got to stand up, and all of these years it's been practice. It's been practice. You've been practicing, you've been studying, and now we need to just go. The training wheels have been removed. The training wheels are off. And yeah, it's without saying too much, it was a lot for me to unpack. And life as I saw it before, and I don't like to use the term never, because we never say never, but things will never be the same. It's just reality. And that's what I've learned. And I spoke about this here, that when life happens and nothing ever stays the same. So we have to treat every single moment and treat every single person and live in the moment as if it's the last time that we're going to interact with them, if it's the last time we're going to see them, because listen, you may never know. Wow. I just had to put that out there. I had to put that out there publicly because it's been weighing heavy on my mind. But we're going to move past. We're going to move past. We're here. I'm still here. As life changes, we need to continue to change too. And we can't stay stuck. We can't stay playing the same broken records. And when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Not the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. When people show you and tell you who they are directly out of their mouths, we need to start believing them the first time. And if you do that, I'm not saying that it's easy, but I'm not saying that it's easy, but it'll be a heck of a lot. It'll be a smoother transition, put it that way. All right. Again, like I said, it's going to be an interesting show tonight. Got some deep thoughts and some concepts that we're going to bring here to the forefront. And I have some great wine. And I have another announcement before we get into the wine, too. So we're going to have to get a little serious before we have a little fun here. But we're going to speak about this wine. And I have a little disclaimer before we get into that. But the last episode we spoke about here with Mr. Birdman 313, we were helping out Miss Kiera, who is from his hometown. Not hometown, but Texas. So Miss Kiera, Texas, great job. Got herself caught up with a friendship, wanted more than a friendship, and it didn't work out well. She ended up getting into some physical with this person that was a so-called friend, ended up buying gifts and supporting his family and just being there, as some people say, just doing the most. And what was happening is this specific individual, I don't believe he was leading her on, but she took it as being led on. And whatever the case may be, I don't know. I only have a small surface of the situation here. But when people show you who they are the first time, like I said at the top of this show, we need to believe them. If somebody says that they only want to be friends, if somebody says they only want to casually date you, if somebody says they only want to be a part-time lover, whatever they want to be, and that's whatever they say out of their mouths directly, that's what it is. Sometimes people can't take no for an answer. I've heard that. When people can't take no for an answer. What does that actually mean when people can't take no for an answer? When people can't take no for an answer, my definition today is, well, you're going to get exactly what you're going to get. Because if somebody told you and showed you who they are from the beginning, from day one, and you just sit in your mind and you can't take no for an answer, and you are quote unquote doing the most, who's the one to blame? And as I go through these scenarios time after time, night after night, there is some correlation here. There is a reoccurring theme here. And I'm thankful that I have been delivered. But what I have to realize is that there's other people out there who are stepping into this situation, people who are in this situation, people who are trying to get out of this situation. People are blindly walking into these situations. So I realize that we have to take our time here. And we can't get too ahead of ourselves. We can't get too full of ourselves. There are people out here that need help. And when we speak about becoming debt free on this journey through spiritual, mental, physical, financial, emotional, whatever the case may be, it's a lot out there. And it's been going on far long before I've been here. And it's going to continue to go on far long after I'm gone. But while I'm here, I have an obligation to give back to the Black Diamond community, and I have an obligation to give back to the people who watch, listen, and check in. And I know who my audience is. And this is for you. Well, this is for each and every one of you out there who are going through it. Because guess what? I've been through it too. And we here. Not trying to keep it too deep tonight, but we here. I promise you, we're going to pick this thing up in a minute. Song of the day, we here again. We are here again. We are here again. And Girls Need Love, the remix by Summer Walker featuring Drake, released in 2018 off of her mixtape, The Last Day of Summer. Now, in this record, Summer is basically laying it out there saying girls need love. But you know I remix it and you know how I do it here. So not only do girls need love, boys need love, men need love, women need love, we all need love. But the question is, what kind of love? Because when I look back at 2019 and prior, the type of love that I was just looking for, that I was searching for, that was the love within. But see, I didn't know that, and I was seeking validation. I was seeking everything on the outside. And when I was looking at people, I was looking on the outside. I wasn't looking at the inner. And we need to be very careful about the words that we speak out of our mouths and the vibrations that are coming from our throat chakra, because one of my favorite records by the Pussycat Dolls is When I Grow Up. And in that record, and in those lyrics, it's common. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Now, if you know this record, Girls Need Love, you know that Summer Walker, you know what she's talking about, what she needs. And you know what she was looking for, and she outright spells it and says it in the lyrics. If you don't know, check it out. But when the ish hits the fan, because it will, especially when you're coming from a lustful standpoint like that, when you just looking for a friends with benefits, a situationship, you just want that one thing, you know, Lauryn Hill, that thing. When it hits the fan, and you know the mixtape says it, the last day of summer, summer eventually will be over. Which one is to blame when that happens? I know I've been there before. I blamed everybody. This person's fault, that person's fault, your fault, you did this to me. But in reality, nobody can do anything to us. We do it to ourselves. Friends with benefits, situationships, just friends. You know, yeah, we just friends. We just chilling. buddies, no strings attached. That's my jump off. Let's take it back to R. Kelly, homie, lover, friend. Be careful if y'all out there thinking that that's love. And everything starts with self. I stand true to that. And I thank you, especially if you're listening from our earlier teachings back in 2019 when I didn't know that everything starts with self, but I know today, and when you know better, you do better. We are energy. Our sexual energy is power. And we have to be careful with whom, we have to be careful when, and we have to be careful with where we decide to give up our power to. And just like at the top of this show here, we're going to help out somebody tonight that says, I gave him my body and now I want my power back. See, we got to be very careful because once we take it there and we go all the way there, we give up a piece of ourselves just to be connected with somebody else. And how easy is it for you to give up your power and then want to try to take it back? Song of the day, Girls Need Love, remixed by Summer Walker featuring Drake. We're going to get into it tonight. We really are, I'm telling you. We're going to get into it tonight. Now, this is Wind Down Wednesday, part of the Mentorship series. We're going to get into it. I have wine. You know what we do here. But the past couple days, I have had my fair share of wine. And as I'm thinking about this here, I'm thinking of sampling. You know, I have my little downtime. I have my self-care mode that I'm in right now, which is very important. We need to take some time to unplug. We need to take some time to get with ourselves because everything starts with self. If we are not good to ourselves, we can't be good to nobody. So as I'm in this mode, I'm reflecting and I'm looking back and I'm going through the show notes and credits and things like that. I want to put this disclaimer out here before I go ahead and speak about this wine, before I even sample some wine. It's all about doing it responsibly. It's all about the message that is put out there. And I want to make sure that I'm putting the right message out here. Even though we consume bottles of wine here on the show, we need to do it responsibly. I'm going to educate you all as far as how much the bottles of wine cost to make sure that we keep that in the forefront, because remember what we're here to do tonight. If you consume bottles of wine every single night, no matter how much they cost, it's going to cost you something. So yes, we wind down here on Wind Down Wednesday, but it's about doing it in a responsible way. This is not something that happens every single night. We're not partying and popping bottles and getting it crunked every single night here. That's not what we do. So I want to put that out there. You have to be very careful. You can have a little bit of everything that you want in life. You just can't get too crazy over one. And that means you can't get too crazy over this wine. You can't get too crazy over this money. You can't get too crazy over this relationship. You can't get too crazy over this job. Trust and believe that we can have no other gods. So let's not make wine. Let's not make money. Let's not make food. Let's not make a relationship. Let's not make jobs. Let's not make cars, homes, and all these materialistic things a god. Because you can easily do it and you can easily slip in and fall into that trap. So I just want to put that out there. And to keep this show on a note, on a more sophisticated, professional level, I got this nice bottle of wine here. And I want y'all to figure it out. You can do the math and you can figure it out and you can look it up on your own. But we're going to give you an abbreviated version of what this bottle of wine is tonight, because I'm not going to be out here cussing tonight. So we sampling tonight Good Effin' Wine. Now, of course, y'all know what it's really called, but I'm just telling you what it's called. This bottle of wine is called Good Effin' Wine. And, you know, I could have came out here and I could have said what the name of it is. I could have been reckless like that, but I just don't feel like doing that. That's not who I am today. So, but I still like to have fun. We still gonna do it tonight. I just wanted to let you know what we sipping tonight is Good Effin' Wine. And it says it is from California, but when I look at it, I see Wilmington, Delaware on it, but it's a product of Italy. This thing has been shipped all over the place. We got Delaware, we got Italy, We got California. So it's Italian good effing wine, sweet red wine. And good effing wine unleashed the unexpected with this delightful sweet red wine from northern Italy. It greets you with a lush burst of strawberry syrup and floral notes, followed by a hint of cherry candy, gentle fizz, refreshing and undeniably irresistible. No BS, just good effing sweet red wine. And it really is. I was actually walking through my favorite wine shop and somebody said, "Hey, you want some good effing wine?" And the way it was presented to me, I said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and try this wine. So I figured that I would bring this here tonight, and we're gonna have a great effing show while we sample this good effing wine. And let's get into these notes here. So I spoke about where it's from. It seems to be a mystery at this point. I need the people who put the information down here to get it together a little bit. But the grapes are a blend of sweet California red grapes. As far as the specific ones, they're not disclosed. The price of this bottle is going to be about $20. The alcohol content is very low, so it is about 7%. So not going to be doing too much. This is more of an experience. It's more of the taste, um, more of a sweeter. It's just interesting. It really is. From what I can remember, is very interesting, and it's great for summer. The appearance is really medium ruby red color with bright highlights, and it's a really dark. You're gonna get a real bright color there. The aromas. Let's see. Let's take a little. Some say cherry jam here, grape jelly, red fruits, berry. You're just gonna get this burst of sweetness, and it smells so good. Great for this time of year, barbecues, grilled meats, spicy dishes, pasta, tomato sauce, mild cheeses, brie, gouda, desserts like chocolate brownies, maybe even a peach cobbler. This is some information on this wine here. The best effing sweet wine, which is under $20, and even has its own cocktail recipe. I'll have to look into that. So it has a cocktail recipe. Pop it open, toss it in a glass with cola and lemon for a twisted Californian take. All right, so you take this wine and you can make a cocktail out of it by using cola and lemon. Hmm. Out of the 5 stars, it's a 4 out of 5 stars. And the notes say an easy drinking, crowd pleasing sweet red with enough structure to appeal beyond the dessert. Excuse me, to appeal beyond the dessert wine crowd. Another note says a delicious blend, wonderfully smooth with a bright, fruity taste and ruby red color, refreshing and just sweet enough. Also, good effing wine, sweet red, is exactly what it claims to be, a bold, fruit forward, slightly sweet red that's refreshing, fun, and versatile. With a playful attitude and an accessible flavor profile, it's perfect for summer barbecues, laid back gatherings, or experimenting in cocktails. So, on that note, I want to say thank you all so much for joining on another episode of Reading Between the Wines. I want to say cheers as I sip this good effing wine and bring in my special guest, author Birdman313. I'll let y'all know what we think about this here. What's going on, Birdman? What's going on?
Oh man, I'm still recovering from these allergies. It's just that I may start coughing, but other than that, it's all right. Hey man, I don't drink no wine, but man, I'm gonna have to get that little piece there, man, because it sounds like it's really good.
Let me tell you, I'm drinking this like it's juice. That's how good it is.
I bet you
And it's
are,
a
man.
low alcohol content, which you can get away with that. So my predictions are
Yeah.
is that I'm gonna drink this whole bottle tonight. That's my prediction. Especially with a low alcohol
Okay.
content like that, and it's like juice. Mm. I give it a 5 star. Especially, I say for people who don't really drink wine, they don't really want that rough after bite or that aftertaste. I say start with this first. You might be surprised. All right, I had to take me another sip. All right,
All right, man. Don't mess
don't
around and get
overdo it
drunk,
tonight,
man.
right?
Yeah.
All right, so we still in this money hack book. Before we get into that, I forgot. You said the allergies, everything. You feel good, but you're still recovering from it.
Yeah, because it's raining. It's raining, man, and then we got this Sahara dust and all the other stuff that's in the air, so it doesn't really help it too much, man. So I've just been staying in the house. I went out a couple of times, but I was always masked up. So,
What's up with that weather out there?
man, you know what? I don't know, man. I've been through a lot of storms, hurricanes, down here. But this flooding, man, it takes it all, man. I've never been through anything like that, and I pray to God I don't have to go through anything like that. But it's up in, like I said, my sons, they stay in San Antonio, and Kerrville is like north. I think it's northeast of them, but it's northern. It's north of them, and they just got hit with. They weren't prepared.
Oh wow.
So hey, that's all I can say, man. That's all I can say.
Mm. Well, it was just
Okay, whoever Burning Sky is, they say, "Hey, Birdman, hey,
that
hello."
that's Miss SOS. She said, "Are you showing your face now?" I we will show our face in the next couple months, but right now we still chilling on the summer vibe. So I'm enjoying this audio only version. So we're not showing our faces tonight, but it will be coming soon.
Oh yeah, cause I don't have to put on a nice shirt. I can wear one of my relaxing holy t-shirts.
I'm chilling with some basketball shorts on. I got my t-shirt on. I ain't got to worry about
Yeah,
getting ready for no camera, lights, camera action. I enjoy this, but the live version, which is part two of Restoration, will be coming um, September. I just put the dates out today. Birdman, you're already in there. SOS is coming. We have
yeah,
Neil Jr., Neil Jones Jr. from United Advertisement. He's coming back. And we should have a full lineup by next week. And everything is stage is set. I also, for the first time, am going to be doing a winery tour. So I'm starting in New Jersey here, and I'm going to stay in here for this moment, test this out here. But I'm going to be in New Jersey for some meet and greets so we can do some wine sampling and hang out and get to see the people in Jersey. And hey, listen, if you don't want to meet me, that's fine. I can go there and sample and sip my wine and be good too. Like it's going to be a full production, regardless of whether you want to meet and greet with me or not. But put it out there. So yeah. All right. So we are here. Thank y'all for joining. Let's get into this money hacks. So I'm enjoying this money hacks book because the last ones that we went through, they were very knowledgeable on it. I got something from it. I took something from it. So give me a number from 1 to, let's say, 250. What do you have tonight?
okay. I'm gonna try 225.
225. Let's see what the money hack is tonight. 225. We actually get two tonight. The first one is avoid permanent life insurance. A permanent life insurance
Oh,
policy is just that. You pay a premium every year until you die. Once you die, your family gets cash. There's also a savings side to these policies, whole life or universal life insurance are ones you've probably heard of before, but the premiums are expensive because they go toward maintaining the policy and go toward building up your own cash fund for which you can borrow, and you sometimes can make withdrawals. Permanent life insurance can cost several thousands of dollars each year, while the premium on a term life insurance is more likely to be in the low to mid hundreds each year. And since you pay that pricey premium up until the day you die, it can be hard to keep up with the tab. Most universal life policies, for instance, never pay out because payment lapses, or, excuse me, they never pay out because payment lapses, and so the coverage lapse too. So that's pretty much a scam, I would think.
Yes.
Huh. Interesting. I've been looking into this life insurance stuff big time, and it's good that we came across this here because I can do more research on that. But I know one of my mentors that I look up to, he always speaks terrible about some of these life insurance policies.
Yeah, I can. Oh man, oh man, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Hey, uh, yeah, my parents had one, and we moved down here. My dad said, "See how much if you cash it out now." I wasn't working, so he said, "See how much you get." And when I told him, he thought I was like, he's like, "What? I've been paying on this until," he said, "I paid on this until you got 25 years old, and the value of it was $25 back."
Can you come again? Please say that again.
Okay, my dad paid life insurance on. He had me and my sister, mom, and him and my
Mm-hmm.
mother, and he just cashed them in. He said they ain't worth nothing, and he was paying. I forgot how much a
Mm-hmm.
month. Okay, after 25
Mm-hmm.
years, it was like he said, it's nothing else will happen. So it went on and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
cashed it in, and got $25 back.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah, $25.
What? What?
Oh, he was hot, man, because he had been paying on it, from the time I was 1 years old until I got 25. And
That's
that's
terrible.
all the money he got back. And then he cashed my
Uh-huh.
sister's in, excuse me, and hers was even less. And that's why I've always like, man, you know what?
Wow. You're hearing.
It just,
You gotta
yeah,
you gotta be
you
very
know,
careful. There is a hack with life insurance. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not here to give anybody any
yeah,
advice. This is only my opinion. So anything that we speak about here tonight, just want to make sure we put it out there. This is not any financial advice. You need to do your due diligence and speak to the people that you need to speak to. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a financial advisor. The only thing I am is a financial coach, and there's limitations, and I'm putting it out there. But there is a hack when it comes to life insurance, and you can pretty much turn your life around if you are mentally capable, and you can get a certain policy, and if you work it the right way, it can change your life around. Now, they don't want you to know this information, ladies and gentlemen. They don't want us to know this because if everybody knows it, we'll be able to break the system, and they don't want that. A lot of people, they want to keep us stuck like Chuck in a pickup truck. My mentor says that. So of course this is not public knowledge. But if you do your research, yes, there is a way that you can hack the system, but you better be prepared because with more money comes more problems. You need to be able to handle the way that your life would pretty much be catapulted if you did it the way when it comes to life insurance policies. And yes, you would need to borrow money and pay it back. And there's some responsibility with that. Last hack before we go ahead and get into our scenario tonight: protect your final wishes with a trust. Want to make life even easier for your loved ones down the line? Set up a trust along with your will. When you die, the executor of your will has to go to probate court, where the contents of your will are made public, and that process can take up to a year. Set up a trust to make the process more private and faster too. When your will is filed in court, it will just say that everything in this will is inside your trust, which gets to stay private. That can also help your loved ones settle your estate faster and get your assets to where you want them to be. That's a good money hack right there, because we all know that people act different when there's a separation, when there's a loss in the family, and money is involved. People start to get a little crazy.
Oh yeah,
I've
yes, for
experienced
sure.
that firsthand, and if I wasn't in my right mind, I would have been in jail or 6 feet under, because I've experienced enough of that with people acting shady during difficult times like that. Hmm. But on that note, let's get on into tonight's scenario here. All right, so we have Miss Jasmine from New Orleans. I almost was going to go to New Orleans, but I decided to cancel that trip. I decided to think a little smarter and not be so quick to pull the trigger. But I almost was going to go to New Orleans next week, but I backed that thing up. And that's okay. That's okay. Because we got bigger things coming at the end of the year. So, Miss Jasmine, 26 from New Orleans, she's writing in because she honestly feels lost after her situationship that she now realized wasn't love. It was just lust in disguise. Before we even move on, at least you realize that it was lust in disguise, because some people don't. I was talking to this guy named Reese for about 5 months. It started casual, mutual friends, good conversations, and a lot of chemistry. We agreed to keep it light, but I caught feelings. We started sleeping together often, texting daily, and acting like a couple. I cooked, I cleaned, I even lent him $300 when his car got towed. But every time I brought up the future or exclusive, I'm gonna make sure I get this word right, exclusivity, if I even hit it right, he hit me with, I'm not ready for that. A few days ago, I saw him on a date with someone else, and he didn't even try to hide it. I feel used, stupid, and ashamed, and it's like I cashed in my body and time and got nothing but silence in return. How do I get my power back after giving myself to someone who never ever planned to stay? And how do I stop confusing physical intimacy for emotional connections? Miss Jasmine from New Orleans, we're going to take it to the top. I'm writing this because I honestly feel lost after a situationship that I now realize wasn't love. It was lust in disguise. I was talking to this guy named Reese for about 5 months. It started casual, mutual friends, good conversations, and a lot of chemistry. We agreed to keep it light, but I caught feelings. We started sleeping together often, texting daily, and acting like a couple. I cooked, I cleaned, I even lent him $300 when his car got towed. But every time I brought up the future or exclusivity, he'd hit me with, I'm not ready for that. A few days ago, I saw him on a date with someone else. He didn't even try to hide it. I feel used, stupid, and ashamed. It's like I cashed in my body and time and got nothing but silence in return. How do I get my power back after giving myself to someone who never planned to stay? And how do I stop confusing physical intimacy for emotional connection? Birdman, what do you have for us?
You know, I kind of read this one over and over, and I'm like confused on it. I mean, hey, 5 months. I
Mm,
mean, come on. I mean, some. I'm wow. I was confused on it. That's all I can say. But I just feel like it was 5 months, and I mean, they was friends. That's the way they brought it out from the very beginning. I don't understand why she's upset because first of all, you can't learn. I mean, you can learn a person in 5 months. you can't expect to spend the rest of your life with somebody after 5
Mm,
months. It takes longer than that. And time goes on in any relationship. I don't care what anything you do in life, that's like a job. You can be there 5 months and they can let you go.
mm,
What are you gonna sit back and cry about it, or you gonna go out there and look for another one? And for her, in a way, you can tell that she's a youngster. I hate to say it like that. It's no offense, but man, how many people? And this is for anybody that want to answer this. How many people out there done did the same thing she's done? Men and females have dated somebody, or they was like they said we friends, and it got physical in the physical sense. When I mean, physical, not hurting physical, but it got y'all spent a little time together, and y'all did this and did that, and then you just say, oh, okay, this ain't gonna work out. Because it takes a long time to learn somebody. You just don't learn nobody, within 5 months. I don't care
mm,
who it is. That person, like, my dad used to always say that, and he was good for it. He was just saying, he said, hey, man, just because that car looked good on the outside, it may be tore up on the
mm.
inside. And at the time, I didn't understand what he was saying, and that may be a thing where he, he just wasn't feeling her like that, as far as being in a relationship, a long-term relationship. Because it sounded like, excuse me, it was like they had their fun for 5 months. Hey, now it's time to move on.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry I made that long, but
No, no, that's
you know,
I listen, while you were talking, I was sitting here taking notes because this is interesting. Thank you for pulling out that she's young at 26 years old. Absolutely. So we're going to chalk this up to just being young. We've all been there before. And you said that this one lasts 5 months. Mine only lasted 3 months because when I asked, I said, I just want somebody to get me through the summer. Now that was terrible that I said
yes,
something like that, but I did. And when it ended, I felt a certain way, but I had to remember back before it started, what did I ask for? And we all have to remember that when we are speaking things and we are thinking things, it's real. You may not realize it because you may not slow down long enough to be able to look back on your life and see the things that you spoke became reality. And that is the biggest trick that's put out there. That's what they do when we get caught up in a matrix, is they keep us so busy with work, this, that, the next, the other, scrolling on, social media, trying to keep up with the Joneses, that if we didn't do some of those things, we would be able to slow down and start to reflect back on our lives and be like, wow, I created that. I signed up for that. I spoke that into existence. Like, words have power and it's real. So I'd like to take it back to, what in the world was Jasmine thinking about, speaking about? And listen, keyword thinking too, because sometimes you don't even have to say it. You can just start thinking and you can think yourself into a situation. She created this. Remember, everything that we experience here in our world today, we own that. Nobody did that. Nobody did that to us. We own that. And I know it sounds rough and some people may not be ready to hear that, but our thought process, the words we speak, have us exactly where we are.
yeah. I mean, like I said, man, when you're that young, man, a lot of youngsters ain't trying to just settle down. They trying to enjoy themselves and do this and meet other people. And that's why when I first read this, I was like, because Man, come on, man. In high school and college, hey, man, we all done it, messed around, got with somebody, and say, man, hey, we had a nice weekend, and then you go on about your business. You don't want to be with that person no more because it's something that, excuse me, it's something that made you think, oh, this ain't the person I want to
Mm-hmm.
be with.
And you know what? About these notes too, because I gotta stick up for the fellas here. They've been getting a bad rap because when these women act a certain way, and I don't care, men, women, doesn't matter. When somebody starts to act a certain way, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. These past couple episodes, these people, these men, have told them, I just want to be friends. This is what this is. So, in reality, when somebody says that I just want to be friends, I want to be this, I want to be that, that's exactly what that means. When somebody tells you that within the first 30 days, they're going to tell you what their intentions are within the first 30 days. When people show you who they are, when they tell you who they are, believe them the first time because they know themselves far way better than you do. And within the first 30 days, if you sit back and you listen and you ask the right questions, they're going to sing you a lullaby. Most of the time,
Yes.
we don't listen because we be so caught up in the physical, we be so caught up on the outer appearance. Man judges the outer appearance. God cares about the character on the inside. So if you so caught up on the outside, clearly you're expressing who you are. That's what we do. We're men and we look at the outside. Start focusing on the
Exactly.
inside. Now, here's the one thing. 5 months. We've fallen apart after 5 months. I get it. Listen, mine was 3. So I give you credit. You 5. All right. When you first meet somebody and when you take it there, the first 2 years, count that out. Anybody that's in a relationship, about to get into a relationship, you're looking at the one, you think that they're the one, you might take it there, you want to take it there. Just remember that the first 2 years, just sit down. Sit down for the first 2 years. Because within the first 2 years, your hormones are so out of control. I think about the Missy Elliott record, Sock It To Me. Hormones jumping like a disco, popping like
Yeah.
Crisco. First 2 years, you have to chill out because if you make any rash decisions, if you make any power moves within the first 2 years, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because after about the second year, that love bug is going to wear off, and then you're going to really start to look at that person and be like, okay, this is the real deal. Give yourself some time. Like you said, 5 months ain't enough. I spoke a couple episodes ago about a family member who's in their 70s that said you'll never know your mate. Everything was great. Everything was
Yeah.
great before we got married, and here I'm in my 70s and I'm married, and then they still did the 180 on me. So now, if you're in your 70s and your mate could do the 180 on you, come on now. Does it ever change?
And that's one thing. Relationships, this is what I was always told. I was told by a whole lot of old folks. That was the good thing. It wasn't just my parents on this. They said, well, hey man, they said, how long you been married? Oh yeah, a year. Oh man, you still in the honeymoon stage. How long you been married? 3 years. Oh, you still in the honeymoon
Mm,
stage. How long you been married? 5 years. Okay, you getting on on the edge of the honeymoon stage. 7 years. That's when that's when a lot of things start cracking apart really, really bad.
ab-
And I know, and I can say this because I know I was married for the first time and the only time for 7.5 years. Man, I didn't think I was gonna make it that long. And that was like eternity. And I was glad when I got the papers and they said you're divorced after 7.5 years. I went out, shouldn't have did it, but I didn't do nothing wrong. Went out with some co-workers and got drunk. I got drunk, man, and they was like, dude, you just got a divorce. I'm like, man, y'all just don't know.
huh. I did. I did
You
the
know, so
same thing.
she's talking about 5 months. I'm like, man, you know what? A lot of guys, they give you 5 months. They done gave you a whole lot of time.
Mm,
And it's go and just not the guys. There's a lot of female, man. I done had females tell me, "Oh, dude, you too nice." I'm like, "What?" They say, "You too nice," and or I done had them say, "Oh, you ain't nice enough." And the ones that say I'm not nice enough is the ones because I ain't putting out no money like they wanted.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I figured that one out, man. I'm like, okay, then I'm like, huh? We go here, go there, and I'm not nice enough. Okay, but hey, like I said, 5 months is man. She gonna have a whole lot of relationships that she gonna have some that's gonna last 2 weeks.
I I think about 5 months, and I heard you say you need to take some time to learn somebody. And I remember my family member saying that in her 70s, she still experienced some issues where her mate, everything was good, but the minute that they said I do, this individual did the 180 on her, started to act different. So, and I remember I was watching something, and it was given to the fact of you never underestimate your opponent. Never put them in a situation where you think that you're better than somebody else, because you never should, because that's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be an even playing field and mutual respect. I
Well, you know what? I've always was told that, and I've heard this from and a lot of people said that. They said, you know what, man? Once I said I do, it changed. Because a lot of people didn't they know, and they said reason why it changed because they know one way or the other somebody gonna have to put out some cash to get away. And I think about all the old blues records, man, like Johnny Taylor and all them.
mm,
And I'd be like, yeah, you know what I did? I said, man, I should have listened to y'all, man. I don't know what I was thinking of.
my favorite Johnny Taylor record. I'm writing it down now. Guess what my favorite. Guess what my favorite Johnny Taylor record is.
Cheaper to keeper.
Oh well, now, I'm writing that down too because I heard that later on. And that made sense too. But hell, I can't. Never mind. You're gonna get me in trouble. We gonna leave that one alone. But I couldn't do that.
Okay.
Couldn't do that, Johnny. I couldn't do that. I just can't do that. Certain things that men can't do when they take it there. But I give you another guess what my favorite Johnny Taylor record is.
Man, I you know,
One more. Just give you one more.
oh man, I can't. I'm trying to think of his music now, man. I'm thinking of so many of the blues of so many of them.
Okay, I'll give it up. Who's making love?
Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, why didn't I? Yeah,
That's
yeah,
my
yeah,
favorite one because I grew up around a lot of women who got dealt dirty. Like all of the women that raised me, I just saw a bunch of men, do them dirty. And when I heard this record, I was like, oh, so you telling me that they probably have another thing going on the outside because you think you doing this person in, but in reality, they got their own thing going on. So you got to be
yeah.
very careful. You got to be very careful. Like I said earlier, never underestimate your opponent. Don't think that you are bigger and better than them and that they don't have something going on too just because you doing them dirty.
Hey, dude. Yeah, well, I ain't gonna. I was gonna say something, but I better not. I mean, I had a situation, and it was yeah, and I know what you mean, man.
And
Hey, you know what? I just seen something. Somebody popped something up on the screen.
oh,
Disco
Disco
lady.
Lady. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Disco Lady. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But hey, you know who? Which since we talked about, oh no, because I can't remember her name now. I was gonna say, and I thought about it the other day when I was thinking about it, and I said, this woman here, because I don't hear her music that much no more. and they used to say she had the dirtiest mouth as far as a female.
Are you talking about SOS? Come help us out, please. You were talking about she actually was on an episode of Martin too. She was on an episode of Martin, and they did say she had the dirtiest mouth as a female, and I remember that. And I didn't know her songs. I never really listened to it, but she's known for that, like a almost
Yes,
an
the,
R&B version of like Lil Kim back.
yeah. And she was that was back. You know what? When we get off of here, I remember the name.
Let's try. I want to try to remember it. I want to try to remember it. It's not Thelma Houston. It's definitely not Thelma Houston, but it's
No.
uh she was on the episode where they were picking the peas and Martin. They made that song "Pick the Peas Like You Used To." You don't remember
Yeah.
the episode?
Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, man,
Mm.
I remember, man, and you know what? There was a bunch of females in my hometown that Millie Jackson.
There you
That's
go.
who
There
it
you
is.
go. That's it.
Millie Jackson,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Millie Jackson. That's it.
Hey, and you know what? All the old females in my hometown, they wanted to be just like her.
A lot of
I'm
people
like,
wanted to be just like Lil Kim, but I don't think they want to be like her now.
no. Millie Jackson, boy, shoo wee. And I used to listen to her music, and I'm like, whoa, wee, man, is this lady here? Wow.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to. Okay, SOS. Thank you so much for helping us out tonight.
Yeah.
Give us like her hit song that we should listen to, or we'll be able to get a glimpse of what Birdman's talking about. Are you familiar with any of her records that really put it out there? And if it's one that comes to mind, put it in the comments.
Hey, I know. You know what? I have it on my playlist, but it plays like once a month when I'm going through it because I have so many songs on my playlist, and it comes through. It came through, and I was like, man, I didn't know I had this Millie Jackson song. And matter of fact, I heard it, and it was like about 2 months ago. I heard it again, and I was like, you know what? I need to put that to the side and put that on my main playlist. But
Hmm.
yeah. But she just told it like it was, though.
I'm gonna have to go back. When I saw her on that Martin episode, that's when someone referred it exactly like what you just said. They said that
Yeah.
her mouth was something else. And I was like, I don't know, I was young at that time. I didn't pay attention to it, but so
Yes.
I don't think I've ever really sat down and listened to any of her records.
Hey man, we did in college, man. We sit up because we used to make that was the thing. That's how I made money back in college, man. I ain't sell no drugs and nothing like that. I used to make mixtapes,
Okay.
and
I feel you.
then hey man, and it was one time I was sitting outside with a little box. I was playing that, man, and the females come around. They like, "What you doing? Listening to that?" I'm like, "Shit, well, man." I said, "She jamming," and they were like, "Can you make us a tape with that on it?" I'm like, "Not a problem."
I guess so. She was jamming, right? They heard the
Yeah,
lyrics. Oh, that's funny. That is really funny because
but
what you're describing is like how I used to be with Lil Kim back in the day. Like it was so like earth shattering when she came out with those lyrics and was speaking the way she was speaking that it was different.
yeah,
It was
and you know what? A lot of these young ladies, if they listen to Millie Jackson and a few more of them older gals, they would come to the realization, hey, because I used to think Millie Jackson was a pimp.
I'm trying to make this
I'm
make
like,
sense, but I got you. I got you.
I'm like, oh man, she can pimp somebody, with all the stuff she would say.
I'm gonna have to.
Oh,
You know what? That's my homework. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna listen to a couple Millie Jackson songs, and I will have a full a report next week because from what you're saying, and again, I've never really listened to it. I've only heard you were the second or third person that told me the same way you described it is exactly to a T how it was described to me years ago when I first saw her on that Martin Lawrence episode. That was years
Yeah,
ago. Years
I
ago.
know. And you know what's so funny? There's a program I listened to, and it's a podcast, and this was an actress, and she came on there, man, and I know I ain't gonna even I ain't gonna call her name. No, 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 not right now. She came on there one night, man. They was talking and laughing and talking, and she said I done laid in bed with more men than what men done laid with women. And I mean, she was proud of it. She said, men come and go, just like women come and go. And
Yeah.
I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, but would I get on a podcast and say something like that?
Mhm. Some people will, yeah. Like,
Yes.
but should we be surprised though? That's the thing because I have asked the question time and time again because of the path that I went down in life. Who cheats more, women or men? So
Yeah.
should we really be surprised?
And then again, you know what? I was thinking about these young girls. They might have been raised by their grandmother, and their grandmother probably told them, you just don't, you find one man and one man only. And I'm thinking that maybe their grandmother conditioned them to think that whoever that person is, they would that person solely, and they giving their all in all to them. But grandma don't know now, man. And you know what grandma know? She knows that a lot of, even back then, even if a lady did do that, just try to stick with one person, try to make that one person be in their life always, it wasn't gonna work.
Mm,
Cause she was go, you know, believe it or not, if they stuck together, the guy and her and the lady, they done some dirt behind each other's back.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying all. Don't get me. I don't want nobody to think I'm
Old
saying
school,
all.
old school. I know what you're talking about because I've had some family members tell me they were like, Laren, y'all kids ain't the same the way it was back in the day. Because back in the day, we would cheat, we would do this and do that, but we always stuck together. I've had a couple family members tell me, he's like, nowadays, somebody do something wrong, y'all quick and run to go get a divorce. And
Yes.
I want to touch base on that because you said something earlier about you have to pay to get rid of somebody. And we spoke about power. And when you got to pay and go through hoops and sit there and wait for a lawyer and wait for this and wait for that in order to break free from somebody, you have given up your power. You have given up your power the minute that you say, I do, I'm sorry. And you've given up your power the minute that you lay down with somebody and you let them get the best of you. You've given up your power. And I took notes on that when you said, when you want to break free, you want it to be done. Sometimes it's 2 weeks, sometimes it's 5 months, sometimes it's 3 months. But when you want to break free, if it's done, it's done.
Do you remember back in the day, plus two, a lot, getting a divorce was much harder back then than it is now.
Well, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to say if it was much harder back then, I'm glad that I didn't experience it back then because hell, what I experienced, I thought it was hard enough. And
Hey, back then, I know, and it depends on what state. And I know sometimes, man, you said you wanted a divorce, you had to prove why you wanted it and everything, and you actually had to prove it. Now it's like, oh, we don't get along. Okay, you divorced. But back then, it wasn't like that, man. And they would say, hey, well, you got 6 months to see what's gonna happen.
exactly. And you know what that 6 months is? That 6 months is set up to drain you and the other party
Hmm.
dry. Because when you go into that lawyer's office, they ask you how much money you got, X, Y, and Z. And then they go to the lawyer's office. Their lawyer asks them how much money they got. Then one lawyer picks up the phone and calls the other and say, listen, check this out. This one says that they have this. What did your person say that they have? They say that they have that. Okay, let's give them about 6 months to a year to drain down their bank account so you make a profit and I make a profit. And hopefully they don't kill each other in the process. So while this is going back and forth, we just gonna sit back and watch the show and we gonna reap the benefits. You down? You down. Okay, let's go. Click. So when I realized it was a game about the second time around, I said, oh hell no. You ain't working for me. You working just to make your pockets fatter. I get it. And they're both all in cahoots. That's why we shouldn't really be suing people and going back and forth with people.
And it's funny because I had my sons laughing not long last week I think it was, and I said I said, hey man, I said, I told y'all after the first marriage I wouldn't ever get married again. I said if a lady got my last name, trust me, she got it because she married one of my sons. It ain't because she married me. That's for sure. She won't ever get my last name by marrying me. She gonna get it from my sons. And I got that from, like I said, a lot of the things I got from older folks, just talking with them and they telling me, and I had to think about it. I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, listen, a lot has been unpacked here, and it's good. It's good because a lot of people need this. We helped in so many different directions tonight, and I love this. But Miss Jasmine here, okay, this is another night where this person can get away scot free. Your emotions are hurt, your feelings are hurt a little bit. But like Birdman said, when it's over, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 months, 5 months, when somebody says it is over, that's exactly what that means. You don't get to dictate and make and manipulate and try to control and make somebody stay with you. If they say they don't want to be with you, that's what that means. When you try to hold,
And you know what? The good thing is, she said she seen him on a date with somebody else. He didn't hide it. That right there should have been like, oh, okay, then this guy here, okay,
you
that's
know
it.
why
He don't
he
want
didn't
me.
hide it because he told her in the beginning and she wasn't
Yeah,
listening, and that's the problem. That's
yeah,
why a friends with benefits situationships, they start off cool, but then somebody always catches feelings, and the one that catches feelings sometimes don't know how to act right.
exactly.
And ask me how I know. But somebody in this situation don't know how to act right and it becomes a problem, and that's what's happening here. So you
And like I tell people, you live long enough, you're gonna learn. You're gonna sit back and you're gonna be like, man, why did I act a fool when with this and that? Because I mean, a lot of relationships don't last. Some last 10 years, and that's it. I be seeing people that come on. They say, "Oh, we've been married 25, 30, 40 years," and the first thing the woman said, but there was a lot of ups and downs and hardships. It wasn't smooth sailing like people think, like they see on TV, and I think that's what ruined a lot of people. They see these relationships on TV that that's real smooth. That ain't
It ain't
how it
real.
is.
Like they had TV back in the day. Now we got social media.
Exactly. Oh, you know what? I know you probably seen it, but SOS put she put Marlena Shaw. She said, go away, little boy." I've heard that one time, and well, I shouldn't say one time. I heard that a couple. I heard of her a couple times, but I never just really got off into what. her music.
I'm gonna listen to them. Marlena Shaw, "Go Away, Little Boy." I'm right. Is that one
Yeah,
song or is that two songs? I'm li- I'm I'm
that's one
writing
song. She says she got on here. It's a
I'm writing that
classic.
down. Marlena Shaw, "Go Away, Little Boy." Something to be said about long titles too. She must have really went on.
Yes.
So I'm gonna wrap this up here. Miss Jasmine, she says, "How do I get my power back after giving myself to someone who never planned to stay?" Right there. You know what? Let me take it to the top. I'm gonna take it to the top, and we're gonna close this thing out here, because this is kind of we gonna handle this delicately. I was gonna say something else, but young, 26, New Orleans. At least you knew that it was lust. You spoke about it being lust. 5 months, okay. Some people, like you said, it's 2 weeks. Mine was 3 months. This one here is 5 months. Mutual friends, good conversation, a lot of chemistry. We agreed to keep it light. See that? You see that? We agreed to keep it light. My my situation
Yeah.
was let's casually date each other. The word casual is like whenever you feel like it. It is what it is. I'm not looking. I'm
Yeah.
not looking for
Exactly.
anything serious. You looking for something serious? Nah, I'm not looking any for. Knowing deep down and inside, somebody ain't telling the truth. But again, remember when people show you who they are and tell you who they are in the beginning, you need to believe them. Take it back to when you first met them, because somebody typically changes something up in the process, and you forgot what was discussed and what was agreed upon from day one. Right here, she says, "But I caught feelings." End of story. It's over. It's a wrap. We can close it up tonight because that's what the problem is. You caught feelings.
Yeah.
We started sleeping together and then you caught feelings, texting daily and you caught feelings, and acting like a couple. You caught feelings. You were acting like a couple. It's an act. It's an act. You just wasn't getting paid. You cooked, you cleaned, you lent him $300 when his car got towed. Okay, so now we're only talking about a $300 loss. It's not that serious. See, this is more of a spiritual thing because we need to take this thing back. This is more of a spiritual, mental. This is not necessarily financial. Every,
Not at all. She could have lost more than
exactly.
that.
Every time I brought up the future or being exclusive, he hit me with "I'm not ready for that." Every time you brought it up, okay, so it's not just one time, it's not just two or three times, but every single time that you brought it up, he already told you that he wasn't ready for that. So why are we even having this conversation?
And that right there aggravated him.
A few days ago, I saw him on a date with someone and he didn't even hide it. Why would he hide it when he outright told you that he wasn't ready for that? He already knew what the game was. You already knew what the game was because y'all just said, let's just keep it light. Y'all never even agreed to anything. And here we go. Now you want to say
Yeah.
you feel stupid, you feel used, and you feel the shame. You feel that. You are absolutely right. You feel that because he's not feeling that. And it's like I cashed in my body and time and got nothing but silence in return. When you want to play adult games, you're going to have to be ready for the adult responses and the adult consequences that come behind it. When you step into a friends with benefits, when you step into a situationship, you want to step into a homie lover friend type of situation, you got to know what's coming behind that. I can't play those games. Not today, not in the state of mind frame that I'm in today, maybe back in the day, but I wasn't really good at playing those games either back then. Um, because if I start to catch feelings, that's a situation. So now we just stay away from stuff like that. How do I get my power back after giving myself to someone who never planned to stay? Stop giving it.
She never gave her power to anybody.
I beg to differ with that. I say she gave up her power when she got into a situationship and thought that it was more than what it was. That's my
All right.
standpoint of it. She gave away her power by thinking that it would be something that it wasn't. And because of that, she's vibrating in a lower state and she can't get herself together because she's still so caught up on what it could be or what it should be in her mind, but that's not reality. So instead of her focusing on herself, she's focusing on this situation, trying to make it something, and there becomes a loss of power that way because By this letter, it seems like she's out of control. She doesn't even know who she is.
Yeah, like I said, it seemed like she's searching and she feel like she's being used, but she's not being. She has not. She being used in her own mind. She is not being used because, like you said in the letter, she state that it started off as friends. We're gonna keep it simple, and then you start sleeping regularly. I mean, come on. I mean, that's
Ain't nobody.
you want, like you said, you wanted to play grown up games, so you played grown up games, and you thought it was going to turn into something more. But like I said, after 5 months, man, you know what? That's
I
no.
feel you. Ain't nobody getting hurt in this situation but her, and she's doing it to herself. And everything starts with self. So before we can even write a letter like this and point fingers, we need to start to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, what role did I play in this? What did I bring on? How much of this is me? And how much of this is somebody else? And when she starts to peel back the onion and start to look at the root, she'll realize that this is all
Uh huh.
her. And I know that sounds terrible, but this
Yeah.
is all her. I put no faults on Homeboy tonight.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't either. Because, like you said, it was only 5 months. Now, if she had said it was 15 years, then I might feel sorry for her. But even during that time, she should have seen something that was going on wrong. Because I mean, believe it or not, and I think that's what a lot of people their issue is. They don't open up their ears or their eyes.
Oh, now that's a good
And
one. See, we got one mouth, right? And I always say that God gave us two ears for a reason. But now you just helped me take it to a whole nother level. He gave us two eyes as well. Sometimes we be looking and
yeah,
seeing. Mm,
yeah, and you got to hear too, because you know what? Like you said, they gonna say something in their conversation that's gonna kind of like, hmm, okay, something is going on
mm,
here.
right. Absolutely. I like that.
And then you got to see, because you start little things, start seeing just little minor things, and you like, okay, something's going on. And and then that's when the feelings, it's gonna be some feelings that's gonna be, okay, this doesn't feel right
Right.
anymore.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Thanks for the feedback. I appreciate that. We definitely dissected this. And again, ladies, I have to put it out there for you. I hope you got something out of it. I know y'all write in a lot, and I know what the audience is. So we have more females listening and watching. So, of course, it makes sense. So, hopefully, somebody got something out of this tonight, and you will not continue down the same path as.
Yeah, and like when a lot of times when I do talk about things, it's mostly what went on. It's mostly what went on in my life or what was said to me personally. I don't take nobody else's life. I just say, because I'll say it. This is what my dad said. This is what my mother said. This is what the old folks or the old older women in my hometown. This is what they told me.
Right.
So I don't knock anybody, because you know what, when you want if you want to say everybody plays the
Mm.
fool, that song there tells you, and that's true. Somewhere everybody has played the fool, but they didn't
You
know it.
you know what I realized too. You got to be very careful too when you get into these relationships, because I think I studied my last two relationships very closely. And okay, so let's say the last three. So when somebody does you dirty in a relationship, and then you think that you're gonna be on top on the next one, and you think okay, so this one did me dirty on this one, so this next relationship, I ain't gonna let
Uh-huh.
that happen. I'm gonna come out on top. This is what I realize is
Yeah.
that once you put some negative stuff out in the universe, there's this thing called karma. And if you were the one that did somebody dirty in one relationship, trust and believe that the next one, or maybe the next one after that, is payback time. Look back at your relationship.
And I've been through that too, and it's like I ended up, and it was a relationship, and that's all it was. And I should have known because she made it clear how it was. I didn't catch no feelings for her. I'm like, okay, we get together, we do what we do. You go your way, I go my way, and we left it like that. And like I said, then I just got to myself. I was like, you know what? Let me take a seat back. Let me sit back and cleanse my soul, my mind, and try to process what I really want in life. And then, like I said, a lot of people, they be saying, they'll say, well, man, how did you and her meet? We met on a dating app, and they laugh about it. A date? I'm like, yeah. I said, there's nothing shame about it. But her and I talked about it before, we even got together, what we was looking for. So it made it so much easier. And like I said, we've been together 13, 14 years. We have not had not one screaming. Because one thing, she taught me this. When you scream, you don't listen.
Right.
And and she taught me that. And so, like, there's no disagreement. And then something else she told me, she said, no, don't ever go to bed angry. And I thought about that, and I'm like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense.
You will block your blessings. You will block a whole bunch of other things, and you will manifest a whole bunch of negative energy. And when you go to bed angry and mad, you are supposed to forgive people so that God can forgive you. So now if you go to bed angry, that means that there's been no forgiveness. And what you think God gonna do for you?
Yeah, exactly. And then we also, from the very beginning, she said, look, I'm not looking for nobody to remarry. I said, well, hell, I'm not either.
Yeah.
And that's the way that's the way it is. And I mean, we get along really, really good. I've had a couple people ask me about it, and I tell them no, and they why? What you mean? Why? Her and I talked about it, and that's between her and I.
That's the boundaries, and that's the standards that were set from day one. And you have to remember what people say out of their mouths from day one, because that's what that means.
Exactly. And we get along just right. Like I said, all my poems, she edits all my poems. She's learning how to edit my videos. She'll look at me and say, if it's something wrong, let me hear it. And then she'll say, oh, that poem don't fit this video because you're speaking of this in the poem, but it doesn't show in the video.
That's awesome. See, when you vibrate on a right frequency, you will attract what you are truly meant to attract. Now, if you might have been in your right state, your right frequency, to where you both align properly. But when we vibrate in lower vibrational frequencies, when that's not who we really are, but we have outside forces that are pushing us down, now we attract things that aren't really us. And we're screaming on the inside once we said I do, once we get wrapped up into a situationship and we know that that's not really us. It's like you got one foot out the door and the other one's pulling you, asking you to stay, but you know that that's not really what you meant to sign up for. And then that's where unhappiness, resentment, all types of... This is the game that I used to play majority of my life.
And you know what, to be honest, man, I'll never forget the day I got married. 15 minutes after I said that, I said, what the F did I do? I was so disgusted with myself. And then from that point on, that's when I really think I didn't like myself no more.
I know what you mean. I know.
And I was like, I can't believe that I did this. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me?
I believe that I had one of those same situations. Like the wedding night, I was like, All right, there's a little red flag, but I don't believe that it really clicked in until I got on the honeymoon and I said, "Oh, this is some dumb shit right here. Oh,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
dumb here." And yeah, like I don't
yeah.
even think it was a whole week
I,
before I started to feel like, "Oh, this is over now already." Huh.
oh, hey man, like I said, 15 minutes after, I was like, oh man, what the? I'm like, what the heck I do? I was, and from that point on, I was miserable with myself, and I didn't really. I started hating myself, and I started saying, "Oh man, this is why this is going on. This is why that's going on," and I started blaming, and I blame that instead of blaming
Mm,
myself.
mm, wow. Yeah. Well, you definitely summed it up and leading us into the next segment, which is the burning questions. And for those of you out there that's listening tonight, you can let me know how you feel. Text me at 609-200-1098. That's the official 401 podcast reading between the wines hotline. Again, that number is 609-200-1098. You can also DM me on any of my social media platforms and email me as well. info@laringgains.com. So the burning question that I have for y'all tonight, this is just a rhetorical question. I want you to just think about it. I want you to just flow. Birdman set us up pretty nicely when he spoke about after he said I do. Things felt a little different. I could concur with that. Things just felt a heck of a lot different. And it was a sense of that I gave up my power and that things will never be the same as if it was before I took that vow. So the question that I have for each and every one of you out there is how many times will you bankrupt your self-worth just to feel temporarily seen? Like a lot of the things that I've done in the past, a lot of relationships that I was done in the past was just to be temporarily seen. I knew full well that it wasn't going to last. I knew full well that it wasn't the end all be all, but something on the inside of me, the lustfulness, I'm keeping it real. Jasmine spoke about it. She realized that it was lust. A lot of the lustfulness inside of me just wanted to hold on to something that was temporary. What can we do just to make this thing work? And I know it ain't going to last that long. I know it really shouldn't, but I'm lusting for something that I want it to be more than what it really is. How many times are we going to take ourselves down the same road? How many times are we going to bankrupt ourselves because emotionally we become bankrupt and we put ourselves in some lower situations just to make somebody else happy? How many times are we going to do that? And even before I even stepped to press play tonight, I have to ask myself the same question because guess what? I'm just like you. I know full well who I am today. But just because I know who I am today does not mean that I won't get challenged because it's been a past couple I want to say months has been very challenging for me because that lust demon it's real and it's in each and every one of us and I got to be very careful to keep that thing at bay because as you continue to elevate in your life and do the things that you want to do, trust and believe that that little lust thing that's inside of you is going to come to try to test you and try to knock you off. New levels, new devils, new heights, new sights. And trust and believe they start to look real different. They start to look real good and they start to smell really good. And the outside surface is really good. But on the inside, the things that really pays that you should be really paying attention to and that really counts the most, I'm thankful today that I can say that I never claimed to be a genius, but I lived long enough to see this. Birdman, what you have on tonight's burning question?
Man, you know what? I just say that you really said it all right there. You know, I mean, if you give away yourself, then you got whatever you receive. That's what you got to expect it to be. And you know, eh, it's hard. Don't get me wrong; it's not easy. And nothing, well, put it like this, nothing in life is easy. Relationships sure is not easy. So, you have to be really, really, you got to sit back and not rush into things. And that's another thing a lot of people do. They rush in, because like I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna let everybody know I'm a man. I got
Mm.
married. Wow. That, and that's what it seemed like, that's what she was looking for, so people could say, oh, you got you a man. And a lot of women do that, not just women, men. They get with a woman. Oh, you got you a woman. Because the neighborhood, oh man, hey, you don't even talk. I don't even talk about that, man. The neighborhood can make some people want to be
Hmm.
seen,
The streets watching.
and and yeah, and then when you want everybody to, when they see you, oh, he got it working well. He got this, he got that, or she got this and she got that. But then when you realize that, hey, this, you have to look out for yourself, because them same people that's talking about you in your face, when you walk away, they're gonna say, oh, he think, she think,
Exactly. Exactly.
you know, because of the fact that, oh, he think he cool because he got that pretty gal. He don't know. Everybody
Oh,
tapping.
oh, oh, oh.
Or she think she cool because she got a man that's cool, that dresses nice, and riding in a nice vehicle, but she don't realize he ain't the only. She's not the only one he's sleeping
Mm.
with.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I just hope that, the young lady get it together and realize she gonna go through. You know what? If she live long enough, she gonna go through about 4 or 5 more
And now
relationships.
that you said that, she got away with $300 missing from her bank account, and it could be more. But the fact that you said three, four, five more relationships, be careful because that stuff starts to add up. And I think that as I was getting ready for the show, and I keep going through the scenarios, and I see that there's some common themes. That's it. People don't realize that these relationships that we get into, and it could be any relationships, even relationships with family members, friends, lovers, that could drain your bank account. So that's what we're here to speak about. Be very careful because we do a lot of these things to ourselves, and it becomes this vicious cycle. So don't think that just because it's a romantic, or it could be a friend, it could be a family, it could be even coworkers that you're with. Your bank account and your self-worth can be drained just by the people that you attach yourselves to.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we going to go through things. We're going to be in relationships, out of relationships, but let's be smart. Let's think a little bit differently now that we know some of this information.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Birdman, for joining. I appreciate that. You want to go ahead and close us out? Let us know what we have on a list of things going on this week in your area.
Well, really, I think I'm not sure. It's supposed to have a podcast, doing a podcast tomorrow evening. I'm not sure. I haven't received anything today. Normally, I receive it the day before, but mostly it's just a couple of Zoom readings. I think this weekend, like I said, because of my allergies and all the coughing I'm doing, I really hasn't haven't been doing much. I've been writing and I've been working on videos, and that's basically about it. But you can find my books, all 10 of my books, on Amazon.com/authors/ Birdman313. You can find, I have 10 videos on Spotify on the Coffee, Wine, and Words platform. I am waiting to hear from them. I sent a video off not the other day to see if they're going to accept it and put it on their platform. I'm on Instagram, author, poet, Birdman 31355. My YouTube channel, I have 600 videos because all the videos are not me. They're at events, and there's a lot of performers on there. And that's youtube.com Author, poet, Birdman 31355. And I think that's about it.
Awesome. Definitely covered a lot. Definitely helped me with these scenarios here tonight. And I got some homework assignment here tonight. I got some Millie Jackson to listen to tonight. Thank you.
Oh boy! Hey, hey, don't be a different person when I hear from you again.
Well, I definitely will bring that assignment to the table. And yeah, we got some Johnny Taylor to go back and listen to. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll have a full report when we get back next week.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I will see you when I see you.
Okay, man. You take
You
care,
too.
man. And thank, like I tell you every after each show, man. Thank you for allowing me to come over here, come on, and to speak. I'm getting better at speaking now, and I don't really have to study long to know what I'm thinking about
That's
anymore.
amazing. That's amazing. That's what it's here for. And yeah, you're the second person that gave a good testimony for me this week. So I definitely appreciate it, and I will continue to show up and do my best to create content for people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. One thing I want to say is anybody, I like I said, my I have to, anybody want to read a good poetry book on the beach, at the park, on their front porch, drink some iced tea, have a glass of wine. Um, Go to my Amazon page and just choose a poetry book. I normally don't just pick out one because I have 10 poetry books on there, and the poems there are different. Yeah, they're nature, they're about the beaches, they're about the Japanese gardens, they're about waterfalls, but it's also poems about life and what's going on in the streets too.
Yes, I have that one. Absolutely. But we're gonna talk about all of these good
Yeah,
books coming up.
yeah, and I just really street poems been out for 3 4 years, and I just really started promoting poems out there because after I put it out, I couldn't really find any of them. Well, there's a few that I have read at open mics, but I tell people this: sometimes it's better to read the poem yourself than to listen to somebody recite it.
Mm,
And street poem, that's the way street poems is you get it and you read it and you'll get a better understanding. But also if you visit my YouTube channel, you'll see poems on there, and then you'll connect the poems with the video, and you also say, oh, okay, the video, I see why this poem is with this video, because it makes you sit back and say, wow, man, it seems like I'm right there.
mm. Good words. Good words. Well, we definitely gonna hear a lot of these poems as the weeks unfold here, especially when we do the live series. So, looking forward to that. I'm gonna have all of my books ready, and maybe we can read from different books. And we got a lot of visuals this time around, so I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I think I'm gonna get me some ice cream. I'm gonna be doing a little late night, midnight run. Give me a little late night snack, which I probably shouldn't, but I've been thinking about it all day. So yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. All right, so I will see you next week, same place, same time.
I got you.
All right, take care, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you too. And good night, SOS.
Yes, thank you, SOS, for coming through. We're gonna get into these comments here as we close up. But all
Yeah.
right, take care now. I'll see you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That was author Birdman 313 coming through, helping us out tonight. We definitely had a great show tonight. I enjoyed sampling this wine. I did not get through the full bottle, but almost, let me tell you. It's great wine. I highly recommend that. Go ahead and check out and get a bottle of Good Effin' Wine. It's a purple label if you're in the stores, if you want to ask about it. Of course, the name says it all. All you have to do is just say the name and people will be like, I know what you're talking about. They actually gave me a wine bottle opener. And a wine bottle opener said Good Effin' Screw. So, yeah, it's that wine. Good Effin' Wine. Thank you so much to everybody out there for listening, joining in. Please do me a favor. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, tag a friend. Let them know. Share this video because there were some great, great moments from top to bottom. So many different messages, and we went into so many different realms. And that's what we do here on a 4-in-1 podcast, Reading Between the Wines. If there is something that you like tonight, that something sparks something in you, you might want to learn a little bit more, head on over to LarenGaines.com. You can sign up for my free 15-minute consultation where I basically take you through. You let me know what you have going on. I can tell you if we're able to help you. This journey is not for everybody. This debt-free journey is not for everybody. You have to want it. You have to want it more than I want it for you. I've had so many people that they didn't want it for themselves, but I wanted it more than they wanted it. And then it doesn't tend to work out that way. So I want you to head on over to LarenGaines.com and apply to see if you qualify. Because after we sit down, we'll get a good understanding of if we're going to be a good match. Again, I am not a financial planner. I am not a financial guru when it comes to that. What I can do is help people get out of debt because I know that I was in it before and now I'm out. So I learned the process. I learned some steps along the way and I became super laser focused on making sure that I never go back. So because of that, I have something to share to people out there who want to learn how to get out of debt. But we're speaking about people who don't want to use credit cards anymore. The sight, the thought, the fact of using a credit card again will probably make you sick to your stomach. If you are that person, then come holla at your boy. If you still might be a little attached to the credit card and you might still want to swipe and rob Peter to pay Paul, you might have not hit your rock bottom yet. Just throwing it out there. This program is not for everybody. Head on over to LarenGaines.com if you want to find out more about that. You can also sign up for my free monthly newsletter, Whispers of Wisdom, all centered around debt-free living from the realms of spiritual, mental, physical, and financial well-being. Again, the mentorship program for Black Diamond Consultations. If you want a seat at the table, if you want to talk to me on a weekly basis and help go through some of these scenarios, go through some of these assignments as we learn together and we dissect together, email me at info@LarenGaines.com and I will give you all of the information that you need to make sure you can have a seat right here at the table. Live versions of this same very podcast that you're listening to right now, where you'll get to see us face to face, live, up close and personal. It's coming September. Any information on that, you can find out about that at LarenGaines.com. Stay connected. Stay close to the social media platforms because I will be releasing more information on that as far as the special guests and more information as far as the meet and greets and all of those good things as the dates get closer. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much to everybody out there for joining. Thank you for hanging in there with me tonight. We had great audience flow tonight. I also want to apologize to the D-Live family. I've recently discovered that something went wrong with the D-Live streams and our family has been missing for the past couple weeks. We're talking about close to 250 people who did not have access to the videos. So now they are back up and running. And again, if anybody ever sees there's some little glitches, because there were some glitches on different platforms, things weren't working right, things didn't just line up properly, just drop me a little line and I can check it out. But I'm so thankful that we are back up and running on D-Live. And hopefully we get some of our family members back in. Thank you so much, Miss SOS, for joining out there tonight. Thank you for the comments. Thank you, everybody out there, for rocking with me. And I will see you when I see you
5,
next week.
4,
Take care.
3,
Talk to you
2,
soon.
1. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines, where growth is always on the menu, and every pour reveals a little more truth. The conversation doesn't end here. Have something to say? Want to weigh in on tonight's burning questions? Text us anytime at the official 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines hotline at 609-200-1098. Stay plugged in across all social media platforms at Laryngains. We're live and in the conversation on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, DLive, Twitch, and Dailymotion. Prefer to listen on the go? The audio version is streaming on most major podcast outlets. Until we meet again, take what you've learned, sip slow, speak truth, and remember, transformation starts within. Powered by the Black Diamond Consultations Network.
Good.